Hello everyone and welcome to my remake of my first devlog. This is a remake because the very first files that I did ended up being corrupt, so I have to do it again. But at least this time you get to see me and I am talking on this one, so it's not just text. So welcome. Basically the idea that I've got is I'm going to teach myself game dev with the Unreal Engine to make, hopefully, a horror game. Since I enjoy playing them so much, why not try and make one? So we shall call this name FPS Horror Game. We shall give it some starter content just so I've got some stuff there that I can mess about with while I'm learning. This will be for desktop and we'll leave the quality as maximum, why not? Not that it's going to be any high fidelity graphics while I'm making it, like, I'm not exactly an artist, but we'll give it a go. Let's wait for this project to load. Hey, Koratani, welcome, how are you? I hope you're well. This is going to be a bit of a different stream this time, and this is my game development log. Of a devlog. So this is the Unreal Engine 5. Oh, damn it. Docking the layout, you fool. Why is it giving me 2? I don't like this. I don't like this already. Come on, dock. Do I have to bring you down here? Yeah. Okay, I'll do it myself. Yeah, there we go. This is a bit temperamental. God damn it. Just chilling while cleaning. You're constantly cleaning, Goratani. Take a break. Right, so if I remember rightly, the first thing that I need to do is create myself a test level. So I shall create a new folder for my maps. I wish I could. And we shall create a new map. Here we go. A default map. Whoa. Default map. Slow down, boyo. Gonna make people seasick. We will save this in our maps folder and we shall call it map_test level. This will be handy. Right, so I think we'll start working on the character to start with. No, should we? No. I need a game mode. So create a new folder for the game modes. Basically, I'll have, as far as I'm aware, I'll have one type of game mode for the main menu screen, which will allow the player to control the options for selecting which buttons to press, and then when I go into the actual game, I'll have a different game mode for my player. So if I do main menu, I'll create a game mode for this. So GM for game mode, main menu. And then if I go back, GM, main game folder, we shall create a game mode for the main game. So GM main game. So we have that now. Now I need to do a blueprints folder, and I shall create a folder in here for the player, and we can create the blueprint class for our player. So we're going to make a character, so we've actually got like movement mechanics and stuff like that, and if I ever do decide to put a model on, it will have a skeletal mesh to be a character with, so that'd be pretty cool. Whoop whoop, yeah. And this will help if I also go to make it multiplayer, because you have to have models, can't have invisible players. So I'll call this blueprint_player. And we shall start setting up our player. Now, as far as I'm aware, all I need to do is add a camera for where the player is going to be looking from. I like to set the Z height to about 65. I think that works. So at the moment, we've finished with the player for the time being. So we will go into the main game mods folder and tell our game mode the default pawn class is going to be blueprint player. And then if we go to our test level and go to the world settings, we can override the game mode and put our main game mode in. So that means that when we click play, our player, which has no controls yet, should spawn on this player start section. Let's have a look. There we go. I'm trying to move the keys and absolutely nothing happens, which is perfect. If that didn't work and we didn't overwrite the game mode, we should be able to move about as a free roam camera. So yeah, there. We can move about as a free roam camera, so we know that that override does work, which is good. So we got that. So now we need to set up some inputs. So I'll go back to the content folder. I'm gonna be annoying people with this. I like to try and keep everything as organized as I possibly can. So inputs folder. In here we are going to have a folder for actions, which is the things that our player will be doing. And then, because we're using the new input system, we will have an input mapping context, which basically is it's like the box that all the controls go in, and we say use all these controls for this situation. So this will be default player controls. So we've got that. We'll pin that in there so we can switch back to it. Now in our actions section, we need an input action movement, if I could actually spell. And then we also need an input action for rotation. So input action, we'll do this look rotation. And should we allow the player to jump? I mean, I don't see why that wouldn't be very good. We'll do that. Input action jump. Okay, so now we need to actually assign the keys and controls to these actions. So we'll do the movement one first. Because we're moving along two planes, it will be a 2D vector because we'll be moving along the X and Y vector. And then if we do the look rotation, this will be 2D vector as well because we're using the X and Y planes of the screen. And jump will be left as a bool. So now we can go into our mapping context, which says group all these input actions together, and we can start adding these. So I will do the jump one first because that is the easiest, and I'm also going to set it up so that I can use it with the Xbox control, which will be pretty handy. So the first input I want is the spacebar, because everybody knows when you play a PC game, generally the spacebar is the jump button. And then for the second lot of action, we shall use the gamepad, and we shall use the face button bottom, which should be the A button. So we will save that. So when we go into our player, before we get ahead of ourselves, what we will do in the blueprints is we need to assign these default controls to the player. So for this, I am going to make a function. I'm going to create a function, assign Oh, what's it called? E input management config. I'll just put assign controls. So that's what the function's called. So from this, I will get the player controller, which is index 0, which is the main player. I shall search for enhanced input local player subsystem, and we should add context mapping. And from that, we can assign the input mapping context default player. So now that that is in place, if we go back to the begin player, we shall assign the controls first thing. So now they're assigned, we can use the input action jump. If the action is triggered, we will, this is the cool thing about the character controller as well, the fact that it has some predefined things in, such as, like I said, it's got the character mesh and stuff, and the character movement, it actually already has a built-in function for jumping. So all I have to do is type jump, and that will make us jump. If it is completed or cancelled, we shall stop the jumping. So let's see if that actually does anything. So if we click play now, hey, look at that, I'm clicking the spacebar button and it is jumping. Let's see if it works when I attach the Xbox controller as well. So I'll wait for this to come on. There it says an input device has been connected. I'm clicking the A button and it is working. Look at that. So the next thing that we need to do is we could do the movement, but I think I will comment this section out first. Jump. So that works. So we'll make that green to say that it works. Next will be the movement. So we haven't even assigned the movement to the mapping yet, so we'll do that now. So movement. For this we need WASD. So WSDA, and then we will also add another one. I've clicked the wrong one there, my bad. Bin that. This is the one I need to click plus on, and this will be the gamepad left thumbstick 2D axis. So basically this here, up, down, left, right, that works on a 2D axis. That's your X and Y values. So we've assigned that movement section now, which is good. So we've got both jump and movement. So now if we come in here, we should be able to do input action movement. Now this is going to give us the X and Y values. So it comes as a vector structure. We can actually split that pin so we get the individual X and Y values. And then we will say add movement input. We will duplicate that. That's Control and D. So the first one is going to be multiplied by the X values. This will be actor right vector. Make it look a little bit tidier. And then the Y value will be the forward vector. So we've got the actor's forward vector now. Make it look a little bit tidier. If you double click on the wires, it allows you to create a little point like that so you can adjust where the wires go. So when it is triggered, they shall fire. Now we shall try that out. So WASD, here we go. Oh, this isn't working very well, is it? Right, so Y value. Why isn't that working? I know why it's not working. Because I haven't actually sorted the settings out for the actions themselves. So W needs to have an override on the modifier as swivel input axis values. So W means it'll go forward with the swivel input axis. So S, in order to make it go backwards, it needs two modifiers. It needs to negate the value first, which turns it to a negative, and it is going to be a swivel input axis value. D, I don't have to do anything with. As you've seen, we were moving right constantly. So that means that A just has to be the negative. So if we try that now, D, A, S, W. Hey, we can actually move and jump. Get in. So that means we should be able to do it with this one. And this one works brilliantly. It's moving. Yay! Right, so we've got the character movement set up there. Oh, as you can see, there's a bit of stick drift here. Stick drift. You're a genius. Thank you, Koritani. So we can sort that stick drift out by going into this section, and where we have the gamepad left thumbstick 2D access, we can modify that, and we can actually add a dead zone to it, and we can set the standard of dead zone. I just leave it as the default, which is 0.2. So basically, if I click right on the thumbstick, it has to be over 0.2 to register. If the value isn't over 0.2, it won't register that value. So now, if I click play again and use this to run around and then let go, you see how it's not moving anymore? We fixed the stick drift. Brilliant. So now that's done, we could make that look a little bit tidier, but I think I'll do that at a later stage, because at the moment we're just getting everything working and making sure it's working. So I'll comment out this section because we know that the movement's working. Movement. I don't think I've spelt that correctly, but hey ho. There we go. Movement. I'll indicate that as yellow, which means come back to this to make it look better or sort something out. So now we need to do the look rotation. So if we add another mapping context, we want the look rotation, smart color coding. Thank you very much. Because eventually that blueprint section where I'm putting all the visual code is going to have loads of stuff in, more than likely. So it helps if you do it like that, then you know what's broke, what's not, and what needs looking at. So look rotation, we will have two of these. We will have the mouse X and Y 2D axis, and then we will have the gamepad right thumbstick 2D axis. Now, as far as I'm aware, the Y values are inverted on the game control. So if you push up, you don't actually look up, you look down. So the way that we can modify that is in the modifier. We can, which way is it? We can negate. And then if we drop down the negate, we can negate just the Y value, and that should swap the values around, which is pretty handy. So input axis, look, rotation, and we will split the vector values again to get the individual values, and we will add pitch input and add yaw input. So I think the pitch is the X value, and I think the yaw is the Y value. We shall soon see, but before we do that, we need to tell the camera to use the pawn rotation. So let's see if that's worked. If we can, oh, there we go. Yes, the Y value, I've got them the wrong way around. I think, yep. I've got them the wrong way around. So it's yaw and then pitch. There we go. Do you know what? I might as well just swap these around, mightn't I? Because then it doesn't get confusing. So if I swap that there. So X value to the yaw, Y value to the pitch. Let's see if that's worked. There we go. But I'm inverted. Now let's see what happens when we do it with the control. So, it's inverted. Maybe I inverted the wrong thing. Obviously, I was meant to invert the mouse. So we will delete that one on there and we will invert the mouse. Instead, the mouse's Y value. And see if that makes any difference. Yes, that made a hell of a lot of difference. So that means that if I look up, yep, that works. And we can move about freely now, looking around, jumping. Brilliant. So we've got that working. But we do need to assign a dead zone to the looking with the thumbstick as well. So we'll go back on here, assign a modification and add a dead zone to that. Leave it as the default, don't want to mess with that, it should be fine. And we'll make this look prettified. As I say, we could probably put this into a function, but we can do that at a later time so it tidies it up even more. So looking, movement, and we shall set that color to yellow. Whoa, wrong one. There we go. So we can alter that at a different time. So yeah, we've got that working so far. Now, I think that the character is moving just a little bit too fast. So I'm going to make the screen a little bit bigger because I don't like the 1080 by 1280 by 720, so I'm going to make it 1080p. So that when we start it, it's starting in the editor, we need to play it in a new window. There we go. So we can actually full screen and we can get a better grips of how fast it is. And I think that's way too fast for the type of game that I want to make. So we can edit that. See, we can go into the character movement section, which has all the different variables for what the character can actually do. And there is a walk speed there, max walk speed. So at the moment it's 600 centimeters a second, which I think is pretty fast. So I would like to change that down to 200 centimeters a second. So let's see how fast that is now. Yeah, that's a bit like more of a walk speed really, isn't it? I think. I feel it is. I think that's a nice walk speed, that. So we shall create a variable to save that default walk speed value, because I do want to incorporate a sprint function, so the speed will change. So we do need a variable to hold the default value. So default walk speed. Now this is a float. Compile so we can give it a value, and we will set that as 200. And then while I'm here, I might as well do a default sprint speed. Shouldn't be a capital letter, it's a variable, not a function. There we go. And I will set this. Do you know what? I'm going to set this at like 500 for the sprint speed. So we can do a test now. So if I do keyboard shift, if I do keyboard left shift is pressed, and I can say oh, one moment, what's it called? Character movement. Or should I just search for max walk speed? No, I have to actually drag the character movements thing in. Set max walk speed. And then I can set this to the sprint when it's pressed, and then when it is not pressed, I can set that. Once it's released, I can set it back to the normal default speed. And we can use that as a test. So let's see if that makes a difference. So I'm walking normally. I'm going faster. And then when I let go, it slows back down again. So that's good. So at least we know that those values in the variable are going to work, which is brilliant. So that's pretty handy. So when we do eventually set up a sprint function, at least we know that'll work. I don't want to do it right now, because if I do it right now, because I don't know how to do the type of sprint function I want, where you can only sprint for so long and then you have to recharge your sprint up so you're not constantly running. I'll have to do it at a later time, because the only way that I know how to do it now is when you constantly hold it down and then you can constantly run at that speed, and I don't really want that. So we've got the character movement, we've got the character looking, we've got the character jumping, which is pretty cool. We could maybe work on an overlay, so we could give it a cursor of some type. So basically I will open Photoshop and I will design a little cursor. It's only going to be small. Don't really need anything massive. I think I'll make it 16 by 16 pixels. There we go. So as you can see, that's very small. And should we make it a circle? I think we'll make it a circle, and we shall make it like grey. I don't want it to be too bright. So we zoom in a little bit just so I can get to that top pixel. And bring it down to that bottom pixel. Oh, anti-aliasing is on. And it's got a stroke. I don't want a stroke. No stroke. There we go. So what we'll do is we'll export that now. And we will just set it to the desktop. No, we won't. Pictures. Right, new folder. Horror game images. Cursor. So that has been We won't save the Photoshop version of it, we don't need that. So now we go to content, new folder, textures. And we'll create a folder called player textures. And we will import from the picture section the cursor. And there we have it, it's there. We need to make it an image now. We don't really want any compression. User interface 2D. We'll have that as the compression. How do we make it so that it's point? There is a section. I've seen it before. Ah, unfiltered. There we go. I think that's right. So we need to create an overlay now for our player. So we will create a widgets folder. So widgets. Player widgets. And user interface, widget blueprint. Widget blueprint, player HUD. So this game, I'm going to make the resolution 1280 by 720. So then I know it's compatible with like most, if not all, of the screens out there for PC and Xbox, seeing as like people still have 720 TVs and such. So if we get a panel to make this a little bit easier so we can actually see, that size is already default 1280 by 720, so that is brilliant. So we want to bring an image in. Now this image, we want it to scale full screen, so we don't want an offset. There we go. Do we want it to scale full screen? No, because it is only 16 by 16, isn't it? We want it to scale to the center. And size to content. And we need to actually get the image. How do we put the image in? So this will be cursor. Cursor image. Here we go, image here. So select my cursor. Position 0, 0. No, it won't be 0, 0 because that makes it off center. So -8. Not for size. Position -8, -8. No, why isn't it 16 by 16 pixels? That's very strange. There we go. That's worked. So that is central now. So now we need to actually put that on the player. So if we go back to begin player, we can say create widget, and the awning player is character controller, player controller, sorry. No. Get player controller, thank you. And we will select the widget blueprint player HUD, and we shall add to viewport. So now when we load up, we should see that little... That's very considerate. There we go. We've got a dot in the middle of our screen. Yes. We have a UI. Well, a HUD. It is rather big, which is not what I want. I wanted it smaller than that. Oh, very considerate with the monitor size, the resolution size. Yes, yes, yes. Well, if I want the market to be big, I've got to scale down. I might actually make that half the size and make those -4. There, that is a whole lot better. I will make another one. At the moment, I'll use this one as a default. I do want to make it a little bit darker though in the future. And then I'll have another one which is brighter. So when you're actually highlighting an object that is interactable, it will switch to the brighter one to give you the indication that you can do something with this item. And then when you're looking at something that you can't interact with, it will be darker. So you do get that visual representation of, ooh, I can do something with this. And that type of stuff, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But yeah, I'm happy with that at the moment. I think that's decent. Yeah. So I think for the time being, because I have got some ideas of some stuff that I want to do later, I do have to test them out though. I love games with that aspect to it. I'm too dumb to know what I can use, lol. I just think it helps because quite a lot of these games, like, they just drop you straight in and they don't really give you any explanation of anything, where if you can help with like little visual hints like that, then it makes it easier for the person playing the game. But then you don't have to make them feel like they're daft because they have to sit through this like 10-minute tutorial learning about things. And I know myself, whenever I get to a tutorial like that, it's like, oh my god, come on, I just want to get into the game, let me get in. So if you can add those little things, I think that it really does help with the feel of your game and things. That's my opinion anyway. And as you've just said, you like that idea because it helps you too. So it must be a step in the right direction. But yeah, I do have some things that I want to work on. I'm going to test before the next stream, so I don't want to do anything like that. Like I'll give you a little bit of insight, like interactable doors and stuff. So I'm going to set like some doors up that are interactable. I'm going to set a door up so that when you click it, it will open and then it'll close on its own. And then I want to make a door that's two-way, so depending on, it doesn't really matter which side of the door you're on, it will always open to the opposite of you. And then it'll close on its own, or doors that just stay there and you can actually close them. So I will be messing about and doing some research onto that for the next stream. So at the moment, now we've got the character set up, I think what I might do is I might actually make a main menu and then see if we can actually switch from the main menu to the player. So we'll crack on with that. So if I create a new level, we'll just do a basic level and save this level as map main menu. Then we can go to the blueprint section and create our main menu character. But this one's not a character, it's called a pawn, because a pawn will be static in the world. I can add a camera to it and add functionality to it, but I don't have to make it move, which is pretty handy. So main menu pawn, and blueprint class the pawn, so BP main menu pawn. Now we need to go to our game mode's main menu and tell it to use, no, this is main game blueprint. Ooh, that was close. Main menu blueprint. And tell this one to use the blueprint main menu pawn. And then this world will override this with the game mode main menu. So we can change the default starting if we go into the project settings. When the game loads, we shall set the where is it, game default map. We'll set that as the main menu map, and for the time being we'll set our game engine to load the main menu as well when it first loads up the project, so we always know where we're going to start at. So let's switch back to Photoshop actually. Photoshop. If I could actually type, that would help. I'm just going to create like a very basic, nothing special main menu. So I will colour this layer in so I can actually see what I'm doing. Give it that grey colour. And I'll make that a little bit darker. And then we shall create a text layer and call it test game title. How original. So test game title, we'll make that about 36. Yeah, that looks about right. And then, so we can export that. Export test game title PNG, yep. And then we'll create a new text layer. We will have the play button, but that obviously needs to be, oops. Oh, that's actually a super smart thing to do art-wise. It's good you put a background colour down so you see how colours interact together and easier to see miss spots. Oh, thank you very much. So we'll make this smaller so it's not so in your face. Oh, wrong thing. And then we've got the play button. We'll export that. Where's the export? There it is. Play button. We shall do an options button for some time in the future. And you can visualize how you want to lay it out as well, which is pretty cool. Options button. And then we shall have the quit button. See, something like that, you know what I mean? So when you load into the game, you've got that. You'll obviously have something different in the background instead of a grey background, but then you've got your play options and quit section. So, so we can export that now. Quit button. So if we get rid of that, I won't save it. No need to at the moment. This is just placeholder items. So we can go into our textures section. Hey Norman, how are you? How are you, my dude? Welcome to something a little bit different. Hello, Long Squid. So main menu textures. and we shall import those items. Open. So we can save all of them. What is he doing? I'm making a game development log. So like a vlog, but it's a dev log. So people can watch me learning how to use the Unreal Engine, and I want to make a horror game. So these are the steps that I'm taking to making a horror game, my dude. So we need a widget, because a widget is going to be the HUD for the main menu. So we'll create a new folder. Make a game about long squid for you. Yeah. For you. Yeah, I get you. When I get good, I will. Main menu widgets. Horror game, but it's long squid. Yeah, long squid could be like the boss at the end that you have to go against or something, couldn't it? Long squid rising from the depths of hell to take you down. Oh, it could be a horror game about pirates. A long squid could be like the Kraken. So user interface, widget blueprint, once again. Main menu. And we already know the default size is 720. So now what we can do is we can actually bring in an image of our title image. We shall assign the image test game title. Size to content. No, we do not want to size to content. You always have to start with the bean. What? I don't know what you mean by that, but it sounds funny. So, test game title. And we anchor that from full screen because we do not want it to alter from there. So then we need to add our buttons. Now this is going to be the play button. Play button, we shall duplicate that. Let me duplicate you. This one will be the options button. And then we will duplicate that and call it the quit button. Oh, it's Baby Hands. Oh, thank you very much for the follow. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. How are we today? You always start the game, you always get the movement and the character looks like a bean. Oh no, that always happens on the Unity engine. But on our level, if I open up our test map that we've got, because we've actually got the character moving. Where's my maps? Here, I'll show you. Right, test level. Right, our character section looks like that, and if I open the character up, where are you? Blueprints, player. We don't actually have the bean. We're invisible. So if we play, you can see that we can move about. We've got a crosshair in the center, and we can jump. And it works with the Xbox control as well, which you can't really see because of my camera thing. But yeah, it works. So we are invisible beans. But yeah, I know what you mean. Every time you watch a tutorial, generally, most of the time, it's always in the Unity engine, and they've got like a little bean capsule, haven't they? What they keep moving about. Right, so I will load back into the main menu map. And finish off this main menu. Yes, buttons. Here they are. So, play button. Oh, what did I do there? I want to move you, play button. That's the quit button, so that goes there. That's the options button, so that goes there. I will be, like, at some point in the future, that would be a pretty cool idea, but not right at the moment. But that is a cool idea. Right, we will sort the layout of them soon. But first, I need to change the style because I want them to be pictures. So, this will be the play button. Haha, there we have it. Play button. Oh! Jesus. I didn't even realise that was going to go off. I thought I'd disabled them. Options. Button. What did I stretch that to? Size to content. I don't even know what the original size is. Oh well. See, this is something that I need to sort out, isn't it? But at the moment, these are just placeholder. And quit button.
Oh, no.
Right. So this. So we've got the normal outline settings. No, I don't want a rounded box. I want it as. Is it image? Do I have it as image? I don't know. We shall have to check. No, I don't want a border. Don't want a box. It must just be a box that I have it as. Change that one to box and that one to box. Because if I leave it as a rounded box, I think you actually see like a rounded box around the image. But I do know for a fact that when it's hovered, I need to change all of these into having the quit button. And the same with the options button and the play button as well. So leave them like that. Now we do need a different tint. We shall have it just for testing purposes. We'll give it a blue tint when it's pressed. When we're hovering it, we'll make it white. And when it's normal, we'll make it darker. So we need to do that with all of these. You see how it went a bit darker there? So hovered, make it white. Normal, make it dark. And pressed, make it blue. Change this, options, button. And then we'll do the same with the play now. So normal, darker. Hovered will be white. Play button. And that one as well. And then when it's pressed, we shall make it blue. So now we've got that. It won't do anything at the moment, but we can go into our pawn on the blueprint pawn for the main menu now. we can add a camera, which will just sit there nicely. Might actually move it up a little bit. Move it up to 65, just like the player would be. Hey, Scotty's here. It's going good, dude. Bit of a different stream tonight. Bit of my game development log. Starting my new journey into game development. One night a week. Rest of the nights playing games. You know how it is. I think I've spent that many years playing games. I want to actually try and make my own now. Like every aspiring gamer does. So we've got the camera. Now at the begin play we need to add that main menu widget. So create widget and player controller. So get the player controller. Classmate. And we will use the main menu. You keep saying you want to try this. Do it, dude. Honestly, do it. There's absolutely loads of tutorials out there. No Man brought another game engine up earlier, which was Unity. If you know how to program, Unity is absolutely fantastic. I've used it once or twice in the past. It's good, but nothing super special. I made like a 2D game with it. But this is the Unreal Engine 5, and I like the aspect of visual scripting like this, creating little nodes and dragging the wires together, save having to actually keep typing and typing and typing. I think this is really cool, so that's why I'm using this engine at the moment. But somewhere down the line, I may end up doing the Unity engine and showing people the difference between using this visual scripting and then doing the actual typing scripting like what you see on movies and stuff like that. But yeah, I like this at the moment and I seem to be getting to grips with it, which is cool. It's just there doesn't really seem to be as many tutorial videos for the Unreal Engine as what there does the Unity engine. But yeah, if it's something that you want to try, go for it, dude, honestly. Exactly, half the battle is enjoying it, isn't it? So we'll add this to viewport. And we shall see if that's worked, because we've changed the game mode. We are in the map menu. Aha! And when we highlight them and click them, they are changing the colours, which is brilliant. But I don't like this background we've got. So the cool thing is inside the widget there is a thing called blur, background blur. So we will stick that on the canvas at the top because we want it to be in the back. We'll anchor it to the full screen. And we shall blur strength. Oh, you see how that got blurry there? Now watch this when we start the map. You see how it's blurred it out? Which I think is pretty cool, where if the blur isn't as high, we'll make it about 25. Let's see what that looks like. A little bit better. Try, I don't know, 8. Let's see what that does. Yeah, no worries, dude. I'll catch you later. Hope you get a good night's sleep and try and have a nice time at work. Won't be streaming so much more time to chat. Nice, very nice, dude. Yeah, I'll probably see you tomorrow. I think I'm streaming Phasmophobia tomorrow, so take it easy and I'll catch you later. There, that looks a bit better, doesn't it? For the time being, you can sort of see the background and stuff, but it's blurred out, so it's not as like, you get to focus more on the actual menu, which is good. Catch you later, dude. Oh, where's my mouse gone? My mouse disappeared. Ah, right, yes, that is an issue. Right, So because we're on the main menu and this is a game engine, it generally tries to make your cursor disappear. So we can actually rectify that by going into the graph. Should we do it on the graph? Or should we do it on... No, we'll do it on the blueprint player. So we're telling it to create the widget, but then we can also get the player controller and say show cursor. Oh, I do apologise, I need to have a drink. So we can show the cursor and make that true, because that is a bool value, so it's either true or false. So now when we load back into the game and click on the screen, the cursor stays there, which is pretty cool. So now we actually need to make the buttons do something, don't we? So widget blueprint, now we're in the graph of the widget, so here's the designer and here's the graph. If I go back to here and I click these buttons, I can make them variables for inside the graph. So if I go on play button, on clicked, or pressed actually, on pressed on the play button, I can say open level by name, and it will be map underscore test level, because that's the name of our test level. If I do quit on pressed, we can quit the game. So let's try that. So we start the game, go down to quit. It worked. But the real test, if I go on here and I click play, oh, we are in the game, which is pretty cool. But did you notice something? If we do that again, we click play, you see how I've still got my mouse cursor, which isn't very good. So I can say open level, and then I can say get player controller and set cursor to false. So fingers crossed that will get rid of the cursor. Let's try it. No, it didn't. Is that because it opens the level first? So if we disconnect this and then do this, if we disable the mouse cursor first before it opens the level, no, the cursor's still there. 1 second. Yep, it's still there. Huh. That's something I'm going to have a look into. But at least we can load into our new level. We can quit the game when we need to. And as the player, we can run, well, walk, look around, move, jump, and we have a cursor in the middle of the screen. So, what will we get up to next time? Well, I've already given you a little sneak hint of what I'm planning for the next time. But hopefully there shall be some more as well. So thank you for taking the time to join me. I hope you enjoyed this little development log. And I shall catch you next time. Bye, everybody.